Welcome back, everyone. Another massive episode of Tommy Talks. This week, we're joined by a Wallaby, the big man, 125 kg. Big Allan, Alaalatoa, has joined us in the building. He's a prop for the Wallabies, and like I said, he's a powerful man. He would absolutely shit mix me if we were going head-to-head. We'd talk about him growing up, his brother captaining Samoa, and then him captaining Australia, his first game against the All Blacks. We talk about just the industry in general and the big games coming up, and obviously the World Cup in 2027 in Australia. You're going to really love this one. Something different. I hope you really do, because I loved it, and yeah, he's a really good fella, so tune in. Aces, I know I always go on about the RIXXs, but I got huge news. We have all our styles and colours restocked on the website right now. It's been months. We ran out of stock, but we're back. Get online, grab some sunglasses at rixxeyewear.com.au right now and use our little discount code ACES if you want a 20% discount code on the house. Righto, let's get into the show. Well, welcome back, everyone. We have a huge guest today, our first ever Wallaby in the building, Allan Alaalatoa. Welcome, big boy.
Thanks, bro. Awesome to be here.
Did I nail the last name then?
Yeah, it was actually really good.
Real nervous about that. I was real nervous about that. I was walking around practicing. I was like, I don't want to pronounce it wrong. It'd be very disrespectful. And we only just met, so and you're a big boy. I read online you're 125 kg. That's a powerful man right next to me.
Yeah, mate. So sometimes that can be a bit of a lie, but mate, that's spot on. Like for some of our props, we normally just average at 125. We've got a couple tipping in at 140, you know.
Really?
So, yeah.
And
some big lads.
140, 125. I just think explosive gym, deadlifts, whatever you're doing. But are you still stronger than a couple of those boys, or what's the goal? Are they moving some serious tin in the gym?
Yeah, front row is normally pride yourself on how much you lift.
Really?
Yeah, you got to be the strongest just because of our position on the field. Like we're always up front in the scrum and the mauls and stuff. So yeah, we pride ourselves on our squat, on our bench and shoulder press and stuff. So
I'm scared to understand what you can throw around. Can you give me, or before you tell me actually, the prop position, right? Just explain. We've got more of a probably AFL background and then half, leaguey background as well. But for anyone out there that doesn't know your position and what you do game day, can you just give them a quick idea of what it is before we get into the gym?
Yeah. So our position on the field, like we're up the front in the scrum. You got about a ton going through your spine. So you've got about 5 blokes behind you pushing weight through your spine. Then you got 8 blokes against you doing the same thing, trying to get on top of you, mate. So it's the work that you do in the gym just prepares you for what you're going to face out there on the field. And obviously what you do at training as well also helps. So, mate, the more you can squat, but even the range of squat, like you pride yourself on your depth, on your flexibility, like we call it ass to grass, So
that's elite.
We got one of the blokes in there that's probably squatted, like 280 at a full depth squat. So he's big. He's big, Tonga Thor. Yeah, he's massive. He's big, mate. So, yeah. So, you need to be able to be shifting good weight with good flexibility, to be able to...
How many reps is that? Just one?
Oh, yeah. So, that would be a PB of 1, yeah. Yeah, just a max rep of 1.
That's unbelievable. 280 kilos to the floor. I remember I had good depth, but I was weak as piss when I used to, you wouldn't know, but I used to play. I was pretty average. But I used to hate squat. I used to love deadlift, but squatting, all I had was depth. Geez, you got long legs, great depth, but I couldn't put much weight on there. And a lot of people didn't go deep that went heavy. So to hear blokes going 280 to the floor I almost want to see a video of that shit.
Yeah, mate. He did it when he was first coming in, mate. Those young lads, keen as. But now we're a bit older, mate, so you got to bring the box in. You got to manage your range so you don't have a back spasm or something. But yeah, mate, it's always like a pride thing when you hit the gym for front rows.
Let's go through it. So squat, then let's go bench press. Everyone knows that. What are you throwing around, and who's the leader in the gym at the Wallabies?
This year I did 185 for 1.
Wow.
I was pretty happy with that. That's probably the most I've lifted because I was in rehab actually, so I allowed time to get massive in the upper body.
Yeah, I heard that. Achilles, was it?
Yeah, ruptured my Achilles last year.
Crazy.
In the Bledisloe Cup match against the All Blacks. I missed the World Cup.
What did that feel like? Because I've only had one mate, I reckon. I was in rehab with him when I was going through calf tendon stuff, and he was just getting out of it, but it was a long process. How was the pain when you did it?
it was sore straight away, and then it just went numb. And then I came off on a Medicab, and like I've watched on the field like a couple of blokes do their Achilles this year, unfortunately. But then I've seen them walk off the field, and then I'm just like, I came off on a Medicab. This bloke just walking off, So, but yeah, it was definitely sore. But yeah, I think more for me, it was more just mentally thinking about what the next whole 10 months or so was going to be like, understanding that I would have been on the sideline for a while. So, yeah, that was a tough process to go through.
100%. Well, mate, we won't get through it because I know it's tough to bring it up, but it's great to see you back and fit and throwing 10 round, 185 on the bench. What about shoulder press?
So you normally just do dumbbells, and you probably just try and get up like the 45s on each side,
So 90 just above. Standing or sitting?
Nah, sitting. Again, you got to save the back as much as you can.
Yeah. Oh, mate. So a ton going through your rig game day as the prop. And, is there a team that you hate? Well, not hate, but who's the team that they've got a lot of force coming your way compared to they all just, every game's just like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, every team's massive, like especially in like international, and then like the world number one, like South Africa, they're a massive pack, bro. But they do something unique with their bench. You can have 8 reserves, and then it doesn't matter. Like you can have 5 forwards or you can have 6 forwards, and then you share that around. So 5 forwards, 3 backs is normally what every team does, in case you get an injury in the back line. But then this country have gone 7 forwards and 1 back, which means that they can pretty much sub on a whole scrum.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so then you're subbing on a whole scrum against a team that probably have only subbed on about 5, so it's a massive advantage, and they're all the same size. So, they would probably be up there as one of the toughest. But again, like internationally, like you just got to get all your technique right and your mindset right. Otherwise, you'll get folded, bro.
I can imagine the mindset you'd have to turn into some sort of absolute warrior crossing the white line. What kind of mental imagery or what kind of preparation are you doing? Because all my mail is I can already tell you're a lovely guy. But there's a mode you're going to have to turn into, which is an absolute psycho to go on the field. So what do you do like preparation-wise mentally? I'm really interested.
Oh, man, like the boys will tell you, like if you ever had a yarn with the teams that I've played in, but like, I get in the red. Like it's like once you cross the white line, like I'm on, and that's purely because of the place that you need to go to as a front rower. And like that's just like you want to be leading the aggression, the physicality. And as you said, like off the field, I'm real kick back. I like getting around the lads and having a laugh. But you can't be like that on the field. Like it's almost like a darker side to you. So that took practice over a number of years, like to be able to bring that out at training. And like I wasn't someone who would just go out there and try and bash blokes. Like I had to practice it. Like I had to put myself in a position where I'd just get angry, and just get in the red. So I found now like this is my 11th year playing Super Rugby, like now, like just being more experienced, I'm able to get there. Like I understand what I need to do to get to that position at training, but also more importantly, getting into that position on game day. But yeah, like come game day, I'm slowly like just tuning myself on, like whereas today, like game day -2, like you're still a little bit calm. Tomorrow you slowly start building up.
Yeah, it gets intense as it gets closer to game day. Yeah. What about training? Like, look, this is why I admire you blokes so much, because we played footy, we hated tackling, because it's like you do it, you just want to stick them game day. It's a part of the game that everyone kind of can do. The skill and all the other stuff is what kind of separates, I reckon, from being elite to just paddock footballers and all that stuff, decision making. So when it come to like doing all the extra tackling after training with your teammates, you try not to get injured before game day. Definitely ramp it up game day. But you blokes, you have to do so much of this physical stuff during the week, and even I'd imagine block by block pre-season or whatever to get back. So like, what's the mindset at training? Because obviously they're your teammates. Like, are you still going red zone, or are you just slowly tuning it up?
Or like today we went like live today.
Oh, like it's live mean like full on?
Yeah, but that would only be for like maybe 5 or so minutes in the whole session.
Match simulation.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then for the rest of the session, it's more like get in front, knowing that you put yourself in a position to execute a dominant tackle, but you didn't really go through with it, And then there's always a couple of blokes, bro, who who probably aren't playing, they want to put up their hand for selection. And I love those blokes that go out there and in training and just go hard and show the coaches that they deserve an opportunity, because then it keeps the playing team sharp. You know, like you're starting 15 or you're 23, like it keeps them sharp on their toes, you know. And yeah, like there was a few little push and shoves like the other day, but that's just, again, like if you don't have that, then it's, you know, like you don't have one team testing you, you know. And we just come off the back of a win, so it's like as a group, like you want to just keep building and trying to find ways to get better. And when you got like a group like that who keeps sharpening that axe for you, like it's always going to help in terms of your performance.
No, I love it. And one thing I'm trying to get my head around is like, it's a bit like cricketers. I can never keep up with the schedule. Can you just talk to us about international and then back at club, like what your schedule looks like when you're an international, you know, you're playing for the Wallabies, but also your club? Like, what does your year look like? When is there an off season? Is there an off season? How's it all work?
Yeah, so if you're a Wallaby, then you're like you'd start Super Rugby, say about early Jan. So like this year we started Jan 6, I think it was. And then you start with your club team throughout Jan 6 right up until end of June, early July, which is when the finals play, and then you have a week off, and then you start Wallabies.
One week. Yeah.
Well, like some years we've had like a couple of days. So you have your Mad Monday, end of year celebration, and then you get called in on the Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah, so all boys are coming in hung as. Everyone's coming hung as, but then you get after it on the Wednesday. Because we played the Wales like a couple of weeks after. So, and then if you're in the Wallaby squad, you're like the last game I think is end of November.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then you get a good 6 weeks at the end of the year over December, over Christmas to kind of mentally get away, recharge, and then you're back with your super clubs
And you get away, like you don't train, you have genuine 6 weeks off, or you're still kind of doing a bit of training as well?
Yeah, I think like for me, like I'd always have 2 weeks of like downtime, like for the body, and then to get away. But then you slowly start building that back up again, like just through weights and then doing your own running. But I like to just stay away from the whole rugby HQ and probably just go into a public gym and do a run down at the local park, you know, or just muck around with the family, you know, just like touch games and stuff. So that's so important. But yeah, probably I'd probably only say about 10 or so days away from actually training, but then like getting back in always feels good. Yeah,
it's amazing. Just the 2 weeks. You guys are animals, absolute animals. I just think about like how is the body after a full year? You know, like you play a full year club, international, and then that 2 weeks, like are you playing a lot injured as well?
Yeah, but I think like what I've learned is like you're always playing with the niggle now. Like, you know, I don't think I've ever played a game feeling 100% in years, man. You know, and that's just the way that like I've learned how to just move on and adapt. And that's just through watching players go before me, you know, who strap up nearly every bone in their body just to roll out and play a good game. You know, so that's awesome for us. Like, yeah, I don't think I've ever played a game like feeling 100%, but I still feel good. You know? So, I think like more so that 6 week break is more just for us mentally, man. Like the body's banged up, but I think like it always is. Like after a test match, man, like you're banged up throughout like nearly half the week, and then you slowly start to come back.
Yeah, you're doing much. There's mobility. Like, what do you do after a game? Because you'd be that sore after all that, especially your position.
Yeah.
Like, is it just ice bars and mobility and hot sauna? Like, what do you do much training? Is there much gym work? What are you doing after a game?
Bro, everything, bro. Like we like our SNCs normally try and choose a hotel with like a sauna in it. And then they have plunge pools for like ice bath. And so when we travel on the Sunday, we go straight into, like a sauna and ice bath rotation into massage. And it's the same on Monday. So Monday you go into the gym, you get the body moving, and some guys are throwing up a 200 kilo squat after a game.
Jesus Christ.
But they use that as a way to, like get the body moving again. Because sometimes it feels good. Like you walk into the gym feeling stiff, and then you come out after a good lift. You're like, man, I feel much better.
Spot on. That actually is spot on. You feel a bit stiff. You get the range of motion going as well, and you feel loose after gym, don't you?
Yeah.
That's. I'm just thinking about you. If I had the ball and I'm running at you, how much damage do you reckon you could do to me?
Oh man, I wouldn't say too much. I reckon you use your feet.
I'm 80, 85 kilos, that range. I could use my feet, but if you get me, you're going to absolutely mince me. Like, like do you love, like, because not all the boys are your size, are they? Like, there's some smaller guys on the field.
Yeah.
So, like,
man.
do you love grabbing them and
yeah, especially the ones that are like halfbacks and that. Like,
yeah,
if you get your hands on them,
right? So if you can get your hands on them, it's like going to hurt
and they
them.
drive the team. Like your 9s and 10s, they're like your game drivers, you know. So if you can get your hands on them, you always finish on top and try and give them a little stick on the floor. You know? So there's always a bit of that, but that's just the position that we play in terms of type 5. Like, you know, it's similar in like in league. Like you watch like someone like Warrior Hargraves. He's someone that probably has that little bit of niggle in him too, you know. So that's like prop for prop. Like nothing really changes for us in union as well. So you kind of have that same mentality.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research before. And was it the South African bloke you were going toe-to-toe with? And like, this sums up you because you had a beer with him afterwards. We'll get the clip up. But talk to me about it because like I saw you loaded the fist. I don't know what happened next because the clip cut out. But talk to me about that moment. Was he in the same position as you? Was that like a bit of...
He's a second rower.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just saw him like he was dominating someone on the ground. One of the boys, yeah. And then we all just... It was kind of like everyone just ran in, man. And I just pulled his jersey off and I knew that he was going to come. I was pretty much just telling him to throw it, you know, because then then we can go, you know.
Go next.
But then I think the ref was behind me or someone was behind me just yelling out to me saying, like, you're both the captains now, you know, you're both the captains. So yeah, he just had to relax with me because then that's just a yellow card straight away. But yeah, again now, man, the game's just a lot of handbags now, you know, there's just a lot of push and shove.
Yeah.
But no one's really throwing. But yeah, then I remember that game, but I was loaded.
I would not want to be on the end of that. Like, I wasn't sure if you threw it or not because I think you rocked up when I was looking at the video. Yeah, Jesus. And so just help me understand as well. So how, in terms of the leaders and the blokes in your position, like are you like the second or third biggest on the team or are you the biggest like on game day? Like, are you the guy that stands out the front with a couple of others? Like, help me understand the numbers and all that you were saying before because it's new to me.
So like I'm in the leadership group. And I have captained the team twice. But yeah, not normally the bloke at the front will be the captain, and then normally like your vice captain that will stand behind him, and then you get like your kind of bigger blokes, so like your 1, 2, and 3, like
gotcha.
Who are the front row, and then you get the locks, who are normally like the tallest lads in the team, and also the biggest, and then your back rowers. So, like physique wise, your biggest blokes will be in the forward pack.
Yeah.
So you normally when we face the Haka against the All Blacks, you normally try and get all the big lads at the front. Like we've had different shapes, so we've had like a boomerang before, and you normally try and get the big lads who are in the leadership group at the front, you know, and just act real staunch. Yeah.
The Haka is crazy, isn't it? Like it's do you find it intimidating? Like, or did you find it intimidating early days? Like, it's obviously it's eerie. Like when they do it, and especially with a packed stadium. I'm only thinking World Cups and when the crowds are just filled and everyone's silent and they're doing it. It's so unique. It's so special. What's it like when you're standing out there just staring at them?
Mate, I think you nailed it there. Like it is special. Like especially for myself. Like I grew up like dreaming to be a Wallaby and being involved in those Bledisloe Cup matches. You know, when you're watching the Haka. You know, like I used to always make sure that I was there in front of the TV for the Haka. You know, because you knew that it was a special moment. Like being a kid and watching Test match footy. And I remember the first time I faced it, there was a little bit of, oh man, this is bad. You know, like getting that first experience. Getting that opportunity to face the Haka because you know how special it is, like even like for myself, but my whole family as well, you know. So a lot of them, mind you, like all supported All Blacks as well, and I'm slowly converting them to support us, the Australians, you know. So, but yeah, like I think there's like that's a great challenge, man. Like just stand in front of that, you know, and say, yeah, let's go, you know. Like that's an awesome challenge that they throw down to us before the game. And yeah, even better, like when you're over there in New Zealand, you know, over at Eden Park or anywhere in New Zealand, like facing the Haka because the whole stadium joins in with them.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, you see it in all different codes, and it's just so cool.
Yeah,
I've never seen it live. Like, you know, like you would just staring right at them. But yeah, it's a special moment. Who was someone you looked up to growing up? I mean, Georgie Gregan rings a bell for me, and Lottie DeCurie. Who was someone that you looked up to when you were growing up?
Yeah, like, I mean, like I grew up watching, you know, the team in '99, like when they won the World Cup, like 2003 when they just lost the World Cup, and guys playing then were like George Gregan, George Smith, you know, who was the open side flanker. Torai Kefu was the number 8. He was a dominant figure in the game, you know. And slowly, when I started playing rugby, and the men that were playing at the time, there were guys like Wycliffe Palu, who was the number 8, but then Sekopa Kepu, who was tight end prop. Like, I used to always admire them, you know, and how they went out and went about their business when they put on the jersey. You know, like, it was showing the way that they turned up each game, you know, with the physical presence that they had in the game, I think was massive. But in terms of like leadership and winning and driving standards, I think someone like George Gregan comes to mind, but also like George Smith as well. Yeah.
And does George Gregan get around the group these days? Does he come in and give the boys a bit of a talk? Like, what's his involvement in kind of the Wallabies these days?
He has in the past. I've been a part of teams where he was actually coming in and helping out our nines. You know, and like our coach at the Brumby, Stephen Larkham, he's good mates with George Gregan, so he would bring him down maybe a couple of years ago when Stephen was first our head coach, and just come in and speak to the boys, or even speak about leadership, you know. So I always speak to our coach. I'm grateful, you know, that you have someone like Stephen Larkham as your head coach, because you ask him what was it like back in those days, like how are we different to what we're doing now, you know, like trying to just pick his brain a bit, you know. So but definitely George Gregan has come around.
Yeah, love it. Love it. Talk to me about growing up. So like your brother, he's captain Samoa, you've captain Australia, you grew up in Sydney. Can you talk to me about how special that is?
Well, it was special. Like our old man played for Samoa in the 91 World Cup. And then he was like a coach in Sydney for like West Harbour, who was like the local team close to us. And then my brother and I, we were just like ball boys, you know, or we'll just do the scoreboard every weekend. Like we'd play juniors at like 8 or something in the morning, and then we'll go across to the main field where all the men were playing, and just be like a ball boy or...
That's the best, isn't it? It's like what I've got a memory like. It's just as a kid, even being at training and having a kick with a few people after it. Man. I remember getting let into the gym and all the players in there just because I was kicking with someone's grandson who was the boxing coach. You know what I mean? They're the things I still remember. I'm like, wow, because you're kind of around it as a little kid. Yeah, man. So you're around all the big dogs when you're doing...
And like, it was special then because like the Wallabies would just roll in and play. Like we had like Lottie DeCurie, Tamana Tahu. Like they would like play for the Tars and then play for the Wallabies. But then on the off week, they would come in and play for their club. And I'm like seeing these guys, but then like watching them on TV, like, man, that's special way. I'll go down the train.
Man, wasn't he? Man. He's the guy that I remember as a kid.
Yeah, and he was a good club man too. Like he used to come down. Yeah, he used to come down and have all the time and day, like for us. Like I was just trying to play touch with them or just be around them. You know?
Asking questions.
Yeah. So that was like, growing up, I was always in love with rugby, you know, and I think like my physique helped too, as I was only going to go one way with how big I was as a kid.
Were you a big kid?
Yeah, I was a big kid, man.
What were you weighing?
I was like a big ball.
Oh, were you?
I reckon I was the same now, but just a big ball, mate. Just round.
You'd be a scary kid. You wouldn't want to mess with you in the schoolyard.
I was pretty soft, man. But yeah, like my brother and I used to always go out at the parks, and that was probably just my old man, like, used to always take us down and do a few extras down at the field.
Just head to head.
Yeah, but he never forced rugby on us. Like it was always like he gave us an opportunity to, if we loved it, we loved it. You know, and we slowly ended up making it through school and then post school, you know, through different representative teams. Like he was with the Waratahs first and I was at Canberra. And then he went over to Crusaders and won like 5 titles and then went on to represent Samoa then. And the same weekend I captained Australia for the first time and he captained Samoa too. And I remember my old man was just sitting at home having a beer. He's like, mate, how good is this? He only has two kids, they're both representing our independent countries, mate. It's really special. And like, so that was a special moment for our family, man.
Yeah, that's mad. Well, what kind of skills do you do as a kid when he's like you and your brother going head to head? What are you doing? Just wrestling each other? Like,
Well, there was boxing. Like, we used to just throw the gloves out, and just do boxing. We used to always try and race around, like do like coat hangers. Yeah, but my brother was always better than me. Like, he was always fitter than me.
Really?
And he just made sure like he's new. Like, he just told me like, I'm the older brother. Every session we had, he always had a little reminder. It's just through his actions, man. So, and I'm that little brother, like, trying to go him every time. No, I want another rep. Dad. Like, nah, you missed it, mate. Let's go.
Yeah, one more.
Yeah. Well, I was never good enough, mate.
That's great. I'm just getting my notes back up here, but I heard you love your golf, or you think you're good at it. You sound like me. Do you get out of, like, you'd hit a big ball off the tee, surely?
Yeah, and then I should actually get lessons, mate, to be fair. And then this boys who play a lot saying, you probably like your backswing's a bit off because, mate, I have the biggest slice. Oh, yeah, and that just comes down to me and my ego. Like, I look at the ball and I'm going it. Like, I don't want to hit it soft or just hit it
I'm the same as you because we don't play much. Like, I'm not going to hit a soft one and try and just, I'm just going to go hard and hopefully it doesn't slice.
Mate, 100%. I'll just aim for the left, get it around that fairway and hopefully it comes back and drops in the middle.
There's nothing worse than when it does go straight and you're like, oh no, it's gone straight. It hasn't come back around.
I know, man.
Well, I should have called me mate, Dommy Tyson. He's got a great golf brand, Clutch & Co. And we'll have to get you some stuff out there. Hopefully it fits the big rig while you're traveling around the world.
Yeah, man. I only just play in like the off season. So because otherwise my back jars up. You got all of the backs, like the outside backs, your tens. They play nearly
well, they're not
every day off.
Yeah,
and it kind of pissed me off a bit.
A ton going through the spine every day.
It just shows how fresh they are after a session.
And do you let them know that the big boys are working harder and you boys are running around the outside?
Yeah, mate. They know it. Like, the worst thing is when you're packing live scrums at training, and you look over and they're doing it like little chip kicks and stuff to each other. And you're like,
It's brutal. It's honestly, I clearly wouldn't be able to do what you're doing, but it's fascinating, man. You don't I always think, even like with all these documentaries that coming out, like, I love me American sport, right? And I just started like the wide receiver last night, and even saw Sprint. I don't know if you've seen Sprint on Netflix it's got all the sprinters that, they're going into the Olympics, but it'd be great to get a prop and a kind of an insight into what you big boys do in the gym and game day and the injuries. And even just like, I'm just thinking now, like, massaging a bloke like you'd need four hands. Like, you'd need you need some big boys throwing the elbows in. Otherwise, like, people's hands they'd be cramping up after 20 minutes.
Yeah, like, you normally get off the table and you see them like sweating or something. So they've gone hard. But like, you just need them to, like, especially through the Gary Jack.
The Gary Jack, I've never heard that. That is elite. That is elite. Who are some of your closest mates at the Wallabies?
Pretty close with like my roommate at the moment, Lucan. He's like a big second rower. Like Tom Wright. He's at the Browns with me in Canberra. He's our fullback. Those lads. Someone like Nella, that's the bloke I mentioned before, the big Tonga Thor. He actually got told he's not allowed to lift weights. But throughout the whole year, he's massive. And then the other day, he just goes on the bench and throws up like 170, considering he hasn't lifted like all year.
That's crazy.
I'm like, mate, that's a joke.
That is a joke. 170
some
warm
blokes
up.
have been trying to get years, mate, to try and shift that tin. And he's just running on there. It's like one rep. It's like, yep. Sweet.
Still got it.
Mate.
That's crazy, 170. Just no gym, too big. I heard the name Tom Wright. Great first name. But I've got a funny story here from someone, I reckon, about you and Tom Wright and KFC in Canberra. Can you give us a little bit of that one?
Oh, because I was, when he first came down, it was like my first year in the leadership group. I've been around Canberra for ages in the Brums. And I was like, I better go and get to know this bloke. Because he's from Manly, Leaguey. From St. Joseph's, a private school in Sydney. So I picked him up, let's go for a feed. And then he didn't know where we were going. So I just pulled up in the drive-thru in KFC. He said, hey, bro, like, what do you want? And I think he was a bit rattled. Like, he didn't know what to say. He's like, is this legit or what? He thought we were probably going to go to a restaurant or something. I was like, nah, mate, let's just order giant feast. Chicken thighs only.
Was he rattled?
Nah, he was actually all right. But, that story stuck with him now. Like, he was like, I think he was expecting something a little bit more fancy.
They're just taking him through the
Take it
drive-through.
through the drive-through and just eat in the car.
That's great. It's efficient. What would you order at KFC?
Man, I'm a massive fan of the giant feast, bro. Like that's probably the biggest order you can get. But like obviously for the whole family, the kids and stuff.
Yeah, wink, wink.
Yeah, like the kids love the chicken nuggets.
What's in the giant feast?
Mate, I think there's 15 original pieces.
Wow, and you're smacking the whole. That is unbelievable.
There's like a large popcorn chicken, 15 nuggets, 3 large chips.
And
I think I don't know. I just know off the top of my head.
Oh my god, you blokes are animals, man.
But yeah, man. But yeah, like KFC is a good Sunday feed, man. You just got to treat yourself every now and then.
Well, after a game for you can eat anything you want.
Yeah.
You deserve anything you want.
Yeah, man. So so KFC gets a bashing, mate, on the Sunday. That's like routine, almost ritual.
That's so good. The young blokes. Tommy's just thought, he's taking me out for dinner. The leader, the skipper, he's taking him to KFC drive-through.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, he ordered something small, so I was like, oh yeah, must be outside back. Little zinger burger or something.
That's great. Talk to us about the calendar coming up. Well, obviously, we pre-record this, but you'll be playing obviously in Melbourne as we're chatting. But you got another game in Sydney the following week. So do you want to talk about that and also what else you're kind of preparing for with the Wallabies?
Yeah, we got Georgia coming up in Sydney. Like that's going to be like a massive test, especially like through the forwards. Like they're a massive set piece team. Who dominate countries through their scrum and stuff. So that's going to be massive for us as a pack. And I think at the moment, like we've got a whole new coaching staff. It was their first time coaching the Wallabies, and it was our first game on the weekend. So I think for us, it's just continuing to build slowly every game, and just to continue to get better and find ways to improve. And obviously, that connection and getting an understanding of how the coaches is massive as well, and what they think wins test matches is important as well for us. And I think like these 3 games that we have before the Rugby Championship are so important into just growing that belief, one for our spectators and our fans, who had our back throughout the toughest times last year. Like we went to the World Cup and first time we haven't made the quarterfinal in ever, so.
How was that as a group handling that?
Mate, it was definitely disappointing, like especially like for myself, understanding how hard the boys were working, and I wasn't there because I ruptured my Achilles, but like I knew how hard the boys are working, so it was never a lack of effort. So that was that was tough, but also understanding for our fans, like they travelled all the way to France, hoping to see us in the final. You get knocked out in the pool stages, so you're feeling for the fans, who spent money to fly over there and watch us. So I think that was probably the most pleasing part about last week's game, was playing in front of a packed Allianz Stadium, and like being involved in the rugby community, like how much the fans want to see us succeed, like as players we know that, and for us to get that win, and it wasn't special, like we got plenty of room to grow, but to get the W and the tick was massive for us, man. So for us as players, and as staff, like we just got to keep building from here and making sure that, that we understand that we've got the win, but there's plenty of room to grow. And it was just awesome to be able to get that win for our fans.
What do you put it down to get back to your best? Like, why do you think we weren't successful in the World Cup? Like, what was it? Is it experience? What was it?
I think it probably would have been a little bit of experience. Like you're going to a World Cup. I think we went there with a lot of, like nearly close to half the squad maybe hadn't been to a World Cup before.
So they're a pretty young group.
Yeah. So it was a young group, who the coach backed, to get the result. And we just came up short, mate. So like we just didn't get it. And I think for us, like we have like quality coaches who have been in the game of rugby for years, man. Like we've got so much experience and knowledge in our coaching staff to pass down to the group that we have. We've got a group who are keen to learn. Who are eager to get better. We've got great coaches here who their attention to detail is awesome, man. So I think that's a great mix. But yeah, also it's going to take a little bit of time, and growth. So, but yeah, we started really well last weekend.
And is the World Cup here in 2027?
Yeah, it is.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah. It's
Like,
massive.
is that a lot of things? Like, obviously it drives you to win the World Cup and everything else that's, there's a lot of other things I've skipped over there, but when's the last time it was in Australia?
2003, I think it was.
So, like, so the motivation levels for older fellas and younger fellas and coaches and everyone involved in the game, it would be as large as it gets.
Massive, man. Massive, bro. Then that's like, we know that as players. Like, we got the British and Irish Lions series coming next year, which is...
I've read that as well. And that's in Australia as well, right? And that's one of the biggest events outside of the World Cup, right?
Yeah.
That's like, I think as I've read, there's a few stats on that, but all the big teams are in town and that'll be a bit of an...
for that.
Yeah, and that'll be a bit of an eye-opener for Australia that hasn't seen it in the country for a while. Like, this is what's coming in a couple more years.
Yeah, exactly, mate. And like, for us to get as much or like a lot of attraction to that, to 2025 to 2027, is for us to perform well this year, and to start building in the right direction, because we want our fans to have full belief, come 2025 that we can win, and then also in 2027. So that's the goal for us this year, is to, one, understand each other and the coaches and to connect, but also focus everything in the manner in how we perform. And
South Africa this year, later in the year, is that right?
We're versing them here in Australia, but then we go to Argentina. We played 2 tests over there against Argentina.
Yeah. And that'll be a big test. Obviously, South Africa, they're the world champs, right?
Yeah, and we got them at home, which is great. Like, but yeah, that's...
What does that bring? Like, the home crowd versus... I mean, it's obvious. Like, anyone that's played sport, home and away, it's just, you're dealing with a lot of different things, but... What does it feel like when you run out in front of your home fans and versus playing, South Africa over there? Like, is it a genuine, like, advantage no matter if the team's the same? You know what I mean? If they're coming off being the champs, you're like, nah, we're at home and we haven't been going well, but we're at home. Like, we don't lose at home. Is that kind of the mentality?
Yeah, man, it's massive. It's a massive difference. Like, especially like, say, like somewhere like last week over in Allianz, we had about 35,000 there. I think that stadium fills up to maybe close to 40 or, and that was loud, man. And that like experience for our boys, especially some of our younger boys, is massive.
How good is it when it's just, when they're all screaming at once?
Yeah, it always lifts you. It always does, especially like if your backs were against the wall, if you needed a massive pushover scrum or a driving more, or you've just been defending for phases like we were last week. Like we defended for 15 or so phases plus, and you just hear the crowd getting behind you. Like it's a lift.
Yeah.
It's a lift, and that kind of works against you, especially if you're playing away from home. And like that whole crowd is going against you. But also those wins are just as special, like when you know that there's only 15 of you out there in front of like 60 plus thousand people, like, and you get the win.
It's like you
those
beat
are
them.
massive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the bonds you have, like, they're for, like, you just never forget them, do you?
Yeah, tours are awesome, man. Like we used to have South Africa in our Super Rugby comp, and they left a couple of years ago, man. So like some of our younger guys haven't even been to South Africa, whereas we used to always go like every 2 years.
Yeah.
And those were like the best times where you make the best memories, man, off the field. Like, because you always connect. Like you have roomies. You're together for about 2 weeks. So awesome, man.
What's the coolest place to travel on tour?
I think like I've been like Cape Town's awesome. Like that's a great spot over in South Africa. Their weather's like always good. But even like when you go over to the UK, like it's Scotland over in Edinburgh, like that's an awesome place too. And Dublin and Ireland's not too bad as well.
Ireland's mad. I've been Ireland, yeah.
Yeah, so that's awesome. We don't really get time to like get around, but like we have like a liaison officer who, has all the like a couple of places to visit on your day off, and you just go to the whiteboard and like put your initials down and say, yeah, I'll go pop over to this place and have a look. So Yeah, so you normally only get one day off throughout the whole week, and that's normally the day to go out and have a look.
Ah, that's awesome, man. And what about the fam? Like you just said, you got 3 kids under 3 with the missus. Do they travel with you all the time, or is it just sometimes? Like, how's that work with the fam?
Oh yeah,
That'd be tough
I'd love for them to travel every time, but yeah, like three kids under 3, but it's hectic.
Yeah.
It's hectic. So yeah, my wife would just pick and choose, which games to come to, and all our family's in Sydney, so like she'll come to the Sydney, test matches because then we got all our family to help. But yeah, other than that, like they're probably not old enough to take on a plane and that.
So you're on tour, so you're away from fam as well. Is that tough?
Yeah.
A lot of FaceTime. I mean, FaceTime's around, which is one positive these days.
Yeah, massive. Like, yeah, my daughter FaceTime me every time she goes to sleep just to say goodnight. And, like, I'm grateful for the technology. But, yeah, for sure, man. Like, that's probably the hardest thing about being on tour. Like, we've been away now for 4 or so weeks. We got a couple of days in between to go home, which was nice. But, yeah, that's a long time, especially, like, when I was being injured. And that was probably last year, like, the blessing in disguise was being able to be home, be present with my kids. And now when you're away, like when you're away from the game and when you're not on the training field, you get a little bit of downtime. Like I'm always thinking about like what they're doing at home and the different routines that we have. But I mean, it is what it is. Like it's our job to go away and provide. So it's a motivating factor to make sure that you do everything you can to make the most of the opportunity.
And twin boys. I'm a twin, but I've got a twin sister. I don't have a brother. I've got another younger sister, but what's that? Like twin boys. I can only imagine like, you're talking about your father with you and your brother, like when they're older. Who's oldest? Like I'm 2 minutes younger than my twin sister. So is it something similar with your twins?
Yeah, man. They're only like a minute and a half apart.
Yeah, so they're going to remind each other who's younger and older when they're going at it?
Will. But the oldest one is the biggest one.
Right.
Yeah, so he's got 2 kilos on the other one. But yeah, mate, they start scrapping in that, which is good. I used to just do the 1 pouch or something for their feed, split them up, put them like one on each side of the lounge room, and just put one in the middle and just see whoever crawls the quickest to it. And then they start scrapping over the one. I'm just there pissing myself.
That's
my wife's
so
like,
good.
"Go, you mean? Go get another pouch."
That's good. What about what's your most memorable moment so far in your career for the Wallabies?
Like my debut was special because, as I said, like we grew up loving footy. We never went to a Bledisloe Cup match against the All Blacks and Wallabies. Only my old man went, and I think because like the tickets were expensive, man. So then to be able to debut in a Bledisloe Cup match in Sydney, like in front of all my family, like we had to get about 40 odd tickets. Like that was special. Like we didn't get the result, but running out there, singing the anthem, facing the Haka, playing 20 odd minutes, and then walking over to my family was a special moment.
That's
like
mad.
just seeing my mum and dad and how happy they were. Like it wasn't the result, but they were just happy of the whole occasion. Like you couldn't wipe the smile off my parents' face.
So good, man.
Yeah, and those are the moments that I will like remember forever, man.
100%. What was it like that first hit as well? Were you just on adrenaline?
I was keen as. I was getting into everything.
Really?
Yeah.
No holding back. Just
Nah, I was into everything,
spring
man.
chicken.
Yeah. And then I probably had like almost too much energy, just trying to do too much outside of your job. But yeah, I was keen as, man.
And how does it work with the tap on the shoulder? When does the coach tell you that you're playing your first game? And how long did it take you to get that first game?
Yeah, I was in the Wallaby squad, like so similar series to this in the July, which is my first time. But I didn't get picked. I was there as a DD, like just there to hold the pad and prepare the team and to learn from the other props. And yeah, he told me like he told me at the beginning of the week to make sure I got my head across it. Yeah, he selected the side on Thursday, but I knew like on Tuesday. I didn't tell my parents till Thursday.
You had to wait. You had to hold it in.
Yeah, I had to hold it in until the team's announced. But I gave them the call, man, and they were stoked because they didn't know it was going to happen. Like they just thought I was probably there to keep learning, But there's no better way to learn than just to be thrown in the mixer, man.
100%. Just get in there and just get your head around it instead of like watching it.
Yeah, so that build up, man, I was bloody shit myself.
That's so
Like I
good.
couldn't sleep the night before. Like I'd wake up and I'm ready to go. It's like 7 a.m. It's like, just calm down. Like kickoff's at 7:30.
Yeah. Good night, 12 and a half hours.
Yeah.
It's brutal. It's so cool though. Like I can only imagine the fam, you know, like especially it's amazing that it worked out exactly like you just said, being in Sydney and having everyone there, and regardless of the result, really, like I don't think they would have, as long as you got through. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, man.
Did you have any, not just that game, but what was your welcome to we call it the league, but welcome to international moment? Like, is there a moment where you remember going, wow, like there's a bloke that you kind of got you, and you're like, geez, I got a bit of work to do?
Mate, I think it would have been that whole first year, like when I was like when I debuted. Like you just get different games where you just get pumped in a scrum, or someone like gets you off the ball. Like
talk to us about what they do, because they are like we're talking and people might be listening to this podcast, but what are they doing? Are they just coming in and kneeing you in the ribs?
Yeah, man.
Or
like I got found out. I was like my first test against Africa, and like you just made a tackle and you could like just finish on top, and like lying there, and you just want to roll out, get back into the defensive line, and you just got guys flying in off their feet, like straight elbow to the face, land on top, give you some on the floor, and I'm just like, I'm like, fuck, you know, like,
yeah, it's
and
brutal.
then you get up, you make your next tackle, same thing again, you know. And
It's generally a fight.
yeah, but then it's not. But then I would get up. I remember I got up and I retaliated, but through like a push and shove, and then I learned like, nah, man, like it's a part of the game, you know. It's a part of being playing international footy, you know. And like, but I just learned through. Yeah, the experience, man. Like I remember that game, it was like over and over again, you make a tackle, bang, someone gets you from the side or
That's what I find amazing when I watch it. I'm like, look at this. Like he's got no one near him, and then there's just bodies flying, and like, you know, they don't really care what's in front of them. It's just, and then hopefully you hold onto the ball and you go again, or they get it and strip it and then they get it. But there's just bodies genuinely flying. And when I'm talking bodies, like you're 125, like you at pace, it's you can kill blokes.
Yeah. Well, mate, in the international arena, mate, that's like the average weight, you know. So they're, especially in the forward pack.
How do the little blokes handle all the body? Like how does a Georgie? How did he do it, Georgie Gregan?
Well, that's why they got to be evasive, mate. It's just just try and step their way and run their way around the big lads. But I remember George Gregan was probably like the only one who could get Jonah Longwood down on a one-on-one tackle. He used to be this massive all-black winger who I used to love watching. But yeah, he used to bump everyone off running down the sideline, and George Gregan used to always be able to use his weight, like Jonah's weight. He'd come out for like a palm, and he'd just use his weight to then pull him down. Smart. But those are ways that they'd have to think about, you know, when they take down the bigger lads.
100%.
It's using their own momentum to bring him down, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what we do. All our skinny blokes. It's the only choice you've got.
Yeah.
Or just get ragdolled.
Yeah, man.
Do you watch much other sport?
Yeah, watch a bit of league, eh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Love your league?
Yeah, massive.
And is there a lot of like you know, union and league? It's like there's a fair bit of crossover these days. Players are swapping and whatnot. Like they all get along quite well.
Yeah, like in Canberra, there's only like the Brumbies and the Raiders. You know, yeah, so we get along, you know, pretty well. Like we haven't done anything together as teams, but like you see each other because Canberra's a small place around, and yeah, like the boys always say hi. You know, and like I think like a couple of the lads have played together with golf and stuff. But as you said, yeah, we've got a couple of players this year from Union heading over to league with Carter Gordon and Big Markey. But also we've got like Joseph Suali, who's joining the boys at the end of the year. You know, so like that's going to be massive as well for us. Like having a presence like him.
And with the World Cup in Australia, you'd think you might get a few more. Do you reckon?
Yeah, man. Well, hopefully
pretty
that's
attractive offer.
Yeah, exactly, man. You know, so yeah, I'm sure they'll be throwing a few offers.
Who'd be one guy you'd recruit that's playing in State of Origin that everyone would know?
Man.
Who's the one guy you reckon you could recruit? Because they're a bit skinny.
I reckon
they're a bit skinnier, the league boys, right?
Yeah, you'd go like a Nathan Cleary.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but then like you got like they're all different now. Like you look at their props, man. it's like their game's changing. You know, like they have the ability to be able to throw offloads and create opportunity for people around them. Like gone are the days where like fui moi moi, you know, off the back fence, and your job was just bumping blokes, you know, and get that forward momentum. Like you see like junior bowler now who just creates opportunity through his ball carrier, like offload and being able to throw a good ball at the back. You know, like yeah, their game's changing, man. So I think like their props would actually, their build is for like our back row.
Yeah.
And how they play the game, or like even like a second rower. But yeah, they're not sure where like our props would fit in with them. Yeah, because they're a lot leaner and.
Well, it's a different game, really. It's more physical, your one from watching, and then theirs is a bit quicker.
Yeah, quicker and a lot of probably a lot more ball and play time as well. Yeah. So they're fitter.
Yeah, love it. Well, when this podcast comes out, State of Origin is in 2 days. So can you give us a bit of an insight of what you think is going to happen?
Oh man, I can't wait, bro. I can't wait. But I'm hoping that the Blues get a dub over Suncorp.
They're looking good, but it's obviously in Suncorp, and everyone you talk to, there's just something about Queensland over there.
Mate, I know, but yeah, I don't know.
What are you telling the Blues boys? Like, what do you tell? You know, we just spoke about South Africa and winning over there as Australians on the road. 15 blokes v 60,000. That's what they're going to have to go up against. They know that.
Yeah.
They've played there before. So what do you reckon the leaders are telling them pre-game?
Mate, I think they got to give like a little bit more to what they gave in game 2. And like they gave everything, mate. You saw like all the little stuff with the boys finishing on top and just a little niggle.
Physical, weren't they?
Yeah, man, they were.
So you think a bit more punch-ons?
Oh, my, I honestly reckon someone in Queensland camp
is just load the cannon up like you did.
I reckon in Queensland camp, someone's just going to come out and set the tone. It's going to be all on.
Who would do that, you reckon?
Someone like a Lindsay Collins, I reckon. He's their starter, but yeah, I think they're sore. Who's their lock, their second rower. He loves to throw them. But,
just come in and throw one. But you don't want to get sent off though, do you? You don't want to get sent off.
Well, Liam Martin got sent off for like a pushing in the head. So if you're going to do it.
It's going to be it's going to be so exciting. It's sport, yeah. It's a great place to be, Australia. There's so much going on. But I can't thank you enough for jumping on the potty. I'm excited to watch you and the boys. And if anyone that's listening or watching, make sure you go support the great man. You will be in Sydney playing Georgia. Where's the game going to be? On Saturday night? Allianz. So it's great spot. And then there's a lot more to come, so be good. Now, mate, I've got a sunglass brand there, a huge sponsor of this podcast, RIXX Eyewear. We've got our famous frames here, the Soho frames. Now, we've just launched the Soho Large. I wasn't sure what kind of...
Perfect timing.
Yeah, so I thought you might need the large. I'm thinking if you're a prop, I thought you'd be a large. So I've got you the Soho Large smoke frames, mate. So chuck them on while I ask you a question, but they are yours. And
man, these are awesome.
I hope they fit you perfectly, which they do. There you go. Bang.
Sharp.
Love it. Do you love your fashion?
Mate, this is on. Yeah, this is great. Normally your sunnies, you look to see if these parts are coming out that way, but this is a perfect
that's
fit.
Why we got them. I'm glad they fit. I get a bit nervous because they're only fresh, but the large frames we've got are, like, you're exactly right. We don't want people bending them. They want to fit flush.
Nah, this is awesome. Thanks for these, bro. Appreciate that.
Pleasure, man. So leave them on and tell me 2 blokes you take that you play with on tour. The wife says you can go away for a week and you can go anywhere in the world on RIXX. You got to pick a location and 2 blokes you're taking and tell me why.
Oh,
because you would have travelled everywhere. So I'm keen to hear what town goes off.
Mate, I don't know if the wife would be telling me to go away with a couple of lads. But who would know that I'll be safe with? Probably, I'd have to say Tom Wright.
KFC man?
Yep. He also loves the piss as well. Maybe Rob Valentini. He's our number 8. He can go, bro. So on the field and off the field.
Oh, he's the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, mate. He's like, get me up day 3 in a row or something. Yeah, he'd be on. Yeah, I'll probably say Cape Town too.
What? I've never been. Tell me, why is it so good?
Or like over there in the beachfront, like great vibes there. Over at Caprice, I've heard that that's a good place. But yeah, I'd say Cape Town always brings a good vibe.
Oh, that's mad, mate. That's so cool. Well, man, I'll, like anyone out there that wants to look like the great man, rixxeyewear.com.au and use the discount code ACES. They're the Soho Large in smoke. But, mate, thanks so much for jumping on the pod. I know you got to go back for a meeting, but it's just great to have a Wallaby on Tommy Talks, and wish you all the best. Going to be following with intent, and, looking forward to watching the group kind of grow. And as you said, it's a younger list, but there's some big things ahead. So, thanks so much for coming on, mate.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Anytime.
It was awesome.
Anytime. And, thank you to you guys that tune in every week and listen. We love you. Let us know what you think in the comments, and we'll see you next week on an episode of Tommy Talks. Cheers. Aces, I know I always go on about the RIXXs, but I got huge news. We have all our styles and colours restocked on the website right now. Get online, grab some sunglasses at rixxeyewear.com.au right now, and use our little discount code ACES if you want a 20% discount code on the house.